Hi guys, it's Caitlin and welcome back to my channel. This is my second video, so hi again. If you're coming from my TikTok or any of other of my social medias, then hi, and I will be leaving them down below in the description in case you haven't already followed them, so you can find them there. I will also be leaving descriptions to all the books I mention in this video. This video is going to be my 2020 underrated books. So these are going to be books that I've read this year that I really loved and I feel are completely underrated. So let's just get started. The first one is going to be Eleanor, Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This is actually an adult book, but you can read it if you're younger. I'd say it's like 15 plus, maybe 15, 16 plus. But this book was great. As I said, I read it this year. I read it quite early on in the year. And this basically follows Eleanor Oliphant, who is I think she's like mid-30s woman who is working in kind of a dead-end office job. She enjoys it, but she struggles to create relationships. It's not said, but it feels like she has autism and she struggles to connect with other people. She has many mental health problems. She struggles with alcoholism and PTSD from an event in her past that you learn about slowly over the course of this book. It follows Eleanor as she starts to struggle more with alcoholism and with her mental health and with her coping mechanisms for her PTSD. But she becomes friends with someone at work named Raymond, and they are walking home one day and there's an old man who's fallen over, and they call the ambulance and they basically get him to the hospital and make sure that he's okay. And from this, these two form kind of a odd relationship because Eleanor isn't really one to want to have relationships. She doesn't really know how to keep up friendships or relationships of any kind. It's just really heartwarming and really sweet, and I really recommend this one. It's totally underrated. I've not seen very many people read it. I feel that might be just because I'm more on the YA side of TikTok and booktube and things like that, and this is more adult, but it's definitely one you can read as a younger reader, and it's a great one to get you into adult fiction. This does have trigger warnings though for, as I mentioned, PTSD, abusive relationships, sexual abuse, alcoholism, and just things like that, so keep that in mind before you pick this one up. The next one I'm going to be talking about is Bring Me Their Hearts by Sarah Wolfe. This one recently came out. I think it was either a 2019 or 18 release, so it's quite recently come out, which is again why I feel not a lot of people have read this one or are talking about this one, but this one was really good. I'd say this one's great if for fans of Sarah J Maas, not necessarily because it's not got the same like magic system or anything like that, it's just the settings are very similar. This follows a girl named Zira who is bound to a witch. This witch has her heart. Her heart has been taken out of her body. They're called the Heartless. Her heart's been taken out of her body, and this witch is keeping it in a jar on her mantelpiece. So basically this witch owns Zira. The witch and her friends basically decide that Zira needs to go and take the heart of the country's prince, literally take the heart off his chest, and the catch is that if she can get the prince's heart, the witch will return her heart to her so she can be free from the witch. So Zira basically poses as a noblewoman's niece and gets taken to the town where the castle is, where the prince lives. She is put into this competition where every year 3 girls go in, and the prince is supposed to pick one of them. It's how he's supposed to find his bride, but he never has. He's never seemed interested. And Zira goes in posing as a noblewoman's niece into this competition, and she comes increasingly close to the prince, but obviously she's there to try and take his heart out of his chest and kill him. But as the book goes on, she kind of has conflicts with her feelings towards the prince that maybe means she doesn't want to take his heart and kill him, but then she wants her freedom, so she's very conflicted between those two things. This was great. I'm sorry if that description wasn't the best. It's kind of a difficult one to describe. This one hasn't really got any trigger warnings, so that's good, but I would say it's 14, 15 plus just because of the subject matter. There is a second one out to this, which I believe is called Find Me Their Bones, and there's a third one coming out, but I have not read those yet, but I'm really excited to read them. So this is my second one that I'm going to be mentioning today. The third one I'm going to be mentioning is Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo, which is, I believe, a tie-in to the Wonder Woman movie that recently came out, but this is kind of like backstory for Diana. and the Amazons where she's from. So this one basically follows Diana, who's an Amazon princess, and one day she's doing this race. It's just like a kind of running race thing which the Amazons do for glory and things like that, but she's running this race and she sees a shipwreck out in the ocean, and so she goes out to save this girl who is named Alia. She goes out to save this girl named Alia who's in this shipwreck. She brings her onto the island and basically saves her. And then she goes back and she learns that Alia is actually a Warbringer. Warbringers are basically people who can start wars. So in this world, the Second World War and the First World War were brought on by Warbringers. Diana goes with Alia back to New York, where Alia is from, and it's this long quest, basically. Kind of, if you like Percy Jackson, this will be one that you'll enjoy. They go on this quest to basically just get Alia to this lake in Greece, where if she bathes in it before a certain time, the curse will be broken and there will not be another war. But of course, there are lots of trials and tribulations along the way. That path is not necessarily that easy, but this one's very, very good. This one does have trigger warnings for racism, sexism, and death of parents, so just keep that in mind, but I would say this one is 14 plus. The next one is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh, which has fastly become one of my favourite books. I read this last month and I absolutely loved it. It's based off of 1001 Nights, and it's basically about a girl named Shahrazad who lives in a world where the king, the caliph, takes a new bride every single day and he kills her off by the next dawn. And the last bride that he had was Shahrazad's friend Shiva, so Shahrazad vows that she's going to volunteer to be Khalid's new bride, and then she is going to kill him so that his reign of terror basically ends and is over and he can't kill anyone else. But as she gets into the palace and she starts to get to know Khalid, she learns that he's not actually the monster that she necessarily thought he was, that there's a reason behind why he's killing all of these women. And so she struggles with her own personal feelings towards Khalid and her need for vengeance for Shiva and all the other girls that he's killed. This one is honestly amazing. If you read any of the ones in this video, really recommend this one. There's a second one that I've just bought actually. The second one is The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Ahdieh as well. It's just a duology. I've not read this one yet, so I can't speak on whether the series gets better or if it unfortunately gets worse. But this one is the sequel to The Wrath and the Dawn. I really recommend this one. My final underrated book for this video is going to be The Fandom by Anna Day, which I read about 3 months ago. And this one is basically it's set in modern day and then also in a dystopian world. Violet's favourite book and movie is a massive thing, similar to like The Hunger Games or Twilight or something like that. And she goes with her friends and her brother to Comic-Con, to the event which is about the Gallows Dance, which is her favourite book and movie. She's going to meet the actors and stuff like that. But when she's there, there's this accident which basically means that all of them weirdly fall asleep and then they wake up in the world of the Gallows Dance. And they have to figure out, after they accidentally kill the protagonist, the main female lead in the Gallows Dance, they have to figure out how they're going to get out of it if the canon cannot play out. So Violet ends up having to take place of the main female protagonist who they accidentally killed, so that the storyline can play out and they can get out of this world, this Gallows Dance, so they can get back to their family and get back to modern day. Really, this one was really good, really interesting, and I've heard like no one talking about this book, which is weird because it kind of feels like one that a lot of people would like. If you like The Hunger Games, you'd like this, not necessarily because the plot lines of this are too similar, but just because, well, this one to start off with has some pop culture references, so they reference Divergent, The Hunger Games, Twilight, things like that, but also the world of the Gallows Dance is very twisted in the same way that the Hunger Games world is, so I'd say you'd enjoy this one if you like the Hunger Games. The trigger warning this has is a run up to sexual assault. There's no actual sexual assault, but there is a run up to it until she does get out of the situation, but just keep that in mind. I'd say this one is 14 or 13 plus. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video. You can leave a like or a comment or subscribe if you want to, and I will hopefully see you next week with another video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!